March 1st, 1941 is the first day that Captain America appeared in comic books. Since so many children enjoy superheroes and reading comic books, this is the perfect opportunity for educators to incorporate students' interest in literature, art, public speaking, research, and writing. Hello and welcome. My name is Mary Ellen. I would appreciate it if you would support my channel by giving my video a thumbs up. Also, if you're new here, don't forget to subscribe. Superheroes are everywhere. They're on TV, all over the movies, in books, magazines, and comics. So as educators, why not utilize this resource within our classroom? The first thing that I like to do is show a PowerPoint on Captain America. Dressing like the character really helps to engage the students within the lesson. The PowerPoint is fairly simple. Who is he? Why is he special? What powers does he have? How does he utilize those powers? How would I use those powers to help others if I had them? Now, once the lesson is over, I then like to incorporate our theme into independent reading time. I bring comics for the students to read during this time. The students can also bring comic books or books about superheroes from home. When we go to the school library, they're also encouraged to look for superhero comic books. This creates a lot of excitement for our Independent Reading Center. In my teacher-led small group, I begin focusing on books about superheroes. One of those books is Almost Super. This book has a lot of twists and turns in it, and it provides some thought-provoking, engaging conversations that leads to those higher levels of blooms. I have had elementary, middle school, and high school students really enjoy this book, and as a teacher, it's one of those books that I like to read as well. I presented Captain America to my students. However, I now want to provide my students with some research time to look for other superheroes. Who are they? What powers do they have? What do they do with those powers? What would my students do to help others if they had those powers? Now, this actually takes a lot more time than you may think, because students usually run into superheroes that they didn't know existed, or they get stuck between superheroes, and then a lot of times they even find out that their superhero had more powers than they thought. I've even had students come up to me before and they had a well-formed, respectful argument asking me to allow them to turn a supervillain into a superhero because they liked their powers and they wanted to utilize them for good instead of evil. Now, this is teacher choice, but since they presented it so well and they were respectful during their presentation, I allowed them to do so. Once my students have chosen their superhero, it's then time to write. Their essay basically tells me who their superhero is, why they chose this superhero, what powers they have, and then what my students would do to help others if they had these powers. I gave them a pretty good example in my PowerPoint. Now, once they've written their rough draft, they then have a friend look over it and fix any mistakes that they had. They're also allowed to let me look over it as well. Now, depending on what grade or level of students that I'm doing this with determines my expectations for the length of the essay. Now comes the art. You can probably tell throughout my channel that I use a lot of art in my classroom. I truly believe that students learn from art and hands-on learning, and they really enjoy it. I take a large piece of paper and fold it in half. This is where they draw their superhero. Once they're done with their drawing, they will open their paper up, take a ruler, and draw lines on the inside. This is where they will write their final essay. Some of my students will also add additional pictures throughout their writing, just to make it look more like a comic book. Depending on the grade level of my students, I will make it a multi-page book. This adds additional room for their writing and their pictures. Once all of the essays are complete, I then have the students present them to the rest of the class. Now, if your school will allow it, it's really fun to let the children dress like the character they chose. Then, I like to display their books outside for all of the school to enjoy. I hope you guys enjoyed this superhero fun. Remember that like superheroes, situations may arise where we are troubled on every side, yet not distressed. We are perplexed, but not in despair. Please let me know if you incorporate this into your classroom. And don't forget to give my video a thumbs up. Thank you so much for watching. And remember to be proud of your work, productive in your day, and positively joyful.